Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, how White Castle wants to get involved in your family Thanksgiving.
Also, how much would you give to spend a night in Narnia?
All that and more on the way next. Now let's see a cat do this. A wheelchair-bound man in Houston, Texas is crediting his dog for helping save him from a wild feral hog attack after his dog alerted him that there was a hog in the area by barking over and over again. The wheelchair-bound man, whose name is Carl White, happened to have an airsoft pistol nearby and was able to use that to fend off the hog, firing enough BBs at this hog to distract it and get it to run away, which is a reminder to me why I don't play airsoft anymore. If it's enough to scare away a feral hog, it's too much for me to take that kind of pain.
Well, thank the Lord Carl does, because he needed that airsoft gun for sure to save himself.
Actually, that hog should consider itself lucky.
Yeah.
Especially in Texas, that Carl didn't have something more.
Yeah,
that's right,
a real gun. No, yeah, this is interesting for sure. But I love it. It's like the dog was barking, and that's what alerted to me. And, the hog was so close that he could smell it. Like, all the details of this story are just so wild because I'm like, Carl, can you not see? Like, what exactly was happening where you couldn't tell, like, that there was something amiss?
Yeah, I do wish we had video, but maybe, I guess it could be a situation where just the dog was paying a little more attention than this guy was, and who knows what else he was doing. So,
well, I'm wondering if it's because, they mentioned that the airsoft pistol had the LED light affixed to the top. I'm wondering if it was like at night or something like that. So that's why he couldn't really see a hog coming his way, but maybe that's why.
Dang, he says, the hog was coming at full speed, looking right at me and fixing to mow me down, Carl said. It's fixing to mow him down, but not when Carl reaches for his LED light assisted airsoft gun.
This sounds like a commercial, like a commercial's like, have you found yourself in this situation?
You never know when an airsoft rifle could come. I guess it was a pistol, could come in handy. Reminds me too, like, this is Texas. What is the worst thing that could actually happen to me here? And it's not this. I mean, the worst thing that doesn't involve a person. Yeah. What? I could see a deer. A deer's not going to attack me. A raccoon.
Hopefully not. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, do we have any? I guess
there's just nothing.
There's not really anything big enough that probably would come attack you. I know we've got coyotes, but that's not really.
I'm not afraid of them. That's not. I could take a coyote.
What about a whole pack?
Yeah, I don't know. Do they do that?
Sometimes I feel like I hear them howling all together because I do live by like a park that's like a protected area. Yeah. And sometimes I'll be like getting out of the car and it's dark and I'm just hearing, the howling. Yeah. And it's all like the dogs coyotes howling together. And I'm thinking, stay over on that side. Yeah. Don't come over to where I am.
I think they're more howl than bite for me. I'm not a cat, so I'm not worried about it. I feel like there's enough neighborhood cats that coyotes would deal with them. Be more interested in that.
Okay.
In what sounds like a scene from The Office playing out in real life, 20 cars were stranded in Oregon recently after their GPS led them astray. Ugh. Now, in this case, these folks did not wind up with a rental car in a lake, in a pond. Mm-hmm. Instead, they were led onto a snowy, hilly, steep road that was not maintained for winter travel. But the reason that they were all wound up on this road, all these people, this is 20 cars, wound up on this road, is because they were trying to avoid other road closures and slowdowns due to winter weather. They thought they could, just listen to the GPS and we'll be able to reroute around this stuff. But the GPS didn't know what I'm assuming is Google Maps or Waze or something like that, did not realize that this road that they all wound up on is not maintained at all for winter travel. Mm-hmm. And so authorities had to go rescue 20 different cars.
Yeah, it's insane to hear from the officials in this county and in this area as they're getting these SOS from iPhones.
Yeah.
They at first they just thought it was from the same car. They just kept getting the same SOS message, but then they realized no, there's literally 20 different cars stranded on this road. It's called Ruckle Road, and it's
that sounds like a road that wouldn't be maintained.
Yeah, it sounds like not a great road to drive when there's however much snow there was on the ground at the time. From the pictures, it looks like quite a bit. But I remember hearing a story about a family that got stranded on an Oregon road similar to this, and it took people forever to find them. So to me, what I'm asking myself is, why are there no signs posted on the or is everyone just missing these? Because it seems odd that 20 different cars got on this road and didn't look and see a sign. So my assumption is there isn't one that says, hey, this is not maintained for winter weather. Don't go down this road.
Hey, listen, you live here. You know how it is. If there was, if they had posted a sign for every road that doesn't get maintained when it snows.
That's true.
All we'd see are signs except for on 5 roads. So
yeah.
I don't blame these people. And because I was thinking I would do the same thing. I would try
and
if there was a sign, I'd be like, well, the GPS knows though.
Yeah, right.
I don't know at what point I would actually be stranded, especially if it's somewhere, if it's just my regular commute home and there's slowdowns, then maybe I'd go, well, I don't know. That feels like that would be a bad place to go. But if you're in an unfamiliar area, this is something people got to watch out for this Thanksgiving when you're traveling. You're in an unfamiliar area. The GPS says, yeah, just go this way. It's fine. You're not going to realize that it's not fine till it's too late.
Exactly. And, it obviously sounds like most of these people did not know, are not familiar with this area, so they would not know that road is not maintained for the winter time. But it also... This isn't funny, obviously. I feel bad. These families or people were, stranded there for hours. It took them forever because they had to bring in this dozer to try and make a road for them to get out.
Now that road is maintained.
Now it's good for a little bit.
For a few days.
Yeah, but it just reminds me of they tell you never ask for patience because you'll find yourself in moments where you can develop patience for sure.
Where you're going to need it.
You're going to need it. So it's you're trying to avoid closures, avoid delays. You're trying to avoid wasting some time on, the highway. Yeah. And you end up stranded for hours in snow.
20 cars worth of canceled plans and ruined evenings.
Yep.
I feel for because it could totally happen to me. I do see sometimes people and I wonder when it's not even that snowy and you'll see people pulled over on the side of the road. What are you waiting for? It to melt? You're on a hill. What are you going to do? I guess you don't want to chance it wrecking your car, but at the same time, you can't just sit there pulled over forever. I always wonder what those people are waiting for. You all going to get towed? It's an inch of snow. But, I guess everybody doesn't have the Canadian attitude I do.
It's true.
Thanksgiving is coming up, and so I am going to open up the Hudson hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
And ask, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food hack?
Ooh.
Let me know. I feel like everybody has one, so 877-2-RADIO-U. Let me explain why I'm asking. Because White Castle has actually gotten into... they've caused some controversy, as in White Castle, the restaurant, after they shared a DIY video showing you how to do it yourself by turning their burgers or sliders into your stuffing. Use this because they sell frozen sliders. You can get them at the grocery store, and you can turn those into stuffing. And many are saying that that's a horrible idea. Call the police in the comments. Some say don't knock it till you try it. I feel like some would say that the White Castle sliders aren't even good for sliders. Forget about turning them into stuffing.
I saw the whole video that White Castle shared, the DIY video.
Yeah.
And I don't think it looks bad. I probably won't, make this ever. Yeah. But I don't think it's something that it's oh my gosh, this is a crime against humanity, So yeah. I
have an open mind to it.
Yeah.
And I don't love White Castle.
Right.
But I would try this. I'll tell you that I do think stuffing is the biggest gamble if you go to an unfamiliar Thanksgiving. Let's say you're dating. So like you're going to your partner's Thanksgiving. You've never been around their family. The thing that is a gamble is taking a scoop of the stuffing.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, is it going to have onions? Is it going to have celery? Is it going to have raisins? Is it going to have nuts? You don't know. And if you go to their Thanksgiving and they made White Castle slider stuffing, I actually think that's not the worst case scenario, I wouldn't be so upset.
I would be like, okay, they're a risky family, but the risk might pay off.
They might be a little... I don't know what the right word is for it. I just don't want to offend anybody.
They're adventurous.
I just don't know. I don't want to use the wrong word. So I just don't know. But I wouldn't be so upset. There's much worse things that you could get than in your stuffing than White Castle burgers. All that said, now let's go back to this. This is a Thanksgiving food hack in my mind. What is your Thanksgiving food hack? We'll go back to the Hudson hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
Send in your Thanksgiving food hack. We'll start with Susanna, who says, I don't know if this counts as a hack, but I always spatchcock the turkey because it cooks more evenly and makes it easier to carve. I'm a big fan of spatchcocking.
Okay.
That's a great idea. I also see that Stephanie says, I usually make my stuffing with sausage, sometimes pancetta, onion, herbs, and chicken broth.
Okay.
This is why that sounds great. I would love to try that, Stephanie. But this is why stuffing is the biggest gamble at an unfamiliar Thanksgiving.
Everybody's got a different recipe for it.
That's right. There is no standard. There's standard cranberry sauce. There's standard green bean casserole. Pretty standard turkey. You never know what you're getting with stuffing. There's no standard.
But that does sound good, Stephanie.
Dylan says, maybe not a hack, but once my wife made gravy out of the gizzards and didn't tell anyone until after we ate it.
Oh.
He made a frown face. But I mean, you ate it, so how bad was it?
Right.
I don't consider that too problematic, actually.
Well, if no one was asking questions, it makes me think it probably tasted fine.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, you wait till everybody's done eating before you admit that you made it with turkey gizzards.
I know some people that actually like eating the turkey gizzards. That's a little far for me.
Yeah.
But I think like the gravy, you can be creative with it. Emma says using a food processor to grate the cheese instead of a cheese grater.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Done that before.
I don't like cheese graters. Always wind up messing up your knuckles. What is your food hack, Allie?
So my food hack has to do with the turkey, and it was something that my mom did for years, and I feel like it's so important because what is the biggest complaint? Survey says, what is the biggest complaint about turkey?
It's dry.
Dry.
Yes.
Yep. That's exactly right. So what my mom does when she makes a turkey is she actually stuffs it with ice and puts butter in it, and it makes it not dry.
Okay.
It's very, very tasty and also just like falls off the bone and doesn't have any issues with the dryness. And so that was something, I don't know where she learned it from, but she started doing it, I want to say, sometime when we were kids, and has done it every year that she's made turkey since.
But that does mean you don't get stuffing from it. It's not actual stuffing, it's dressing because it's not inside the turkey, right?
Yeah.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But if you can still have dressing and it can be good. Right. And then you get a better turkey too. Yeah. I like that. My family is big on deep frying the turkey.
Oh.
So that's the dryness not as much of an issue. Christy says the Thanksgiving food hack is buying a small turkey and cooking it in the crock pot.
That would also help with the dryness.
That could. I would. Yeah. I like having the leftovers though. Even if the turkey's just for me, I buy the biggest one so that I can have leftovers because that's the best part. Which brings me to my new Thanksgiving food hack that I'm so excited to try. Okay. I was turned on to for this Thanksgiving, getting the stuffing, putting it in a waffle iron, and making it into a patty of stuffing that then you pile the rest of the leftovers on that, gravy, and that's your leftovers. That is something, I can't call it a confirmed Thanksgiving food hack yet because I haven't tried it, but it looks so good.
That does I have to be honest, I'm salivating right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
right?
know why.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's gonna work, but it does
What do you
sound.
mean?
But it does.
Why
sound
would it not
good.
work?
Like part of me says it's gonna be awful, and the other part of me is like, this is gonna be amazing.
I live for the thing. I think the Thanksgiving leftovers are better anyways, and I feel like this will just make them even better than they already were.
I do love Thanksgiving leftovers, but I don't know if I necessarily agree that they're better. But I do love the leftovers. It's the one time of year where it's like, I actually enjoy eating leftovers.
I am going to have to buy a waffle iron, though, to test this out. I haven't gotten there yet. Thanksgiving's such a good holiday because, like, football's on. There's so much good food. You spend a lot of time with family usually. And, I don't do the shopping as much. I just like to sleep in an extra couple days. I cannot wait till Thanksgiving. And you think about Thanksgiving, think about this, right? For all the time that most of us are going to spend with our families, can we be honest and say we might spend just as much time on social media? Like you're going to starting probably tomorrow, most people, you're going to spend a comparable amount of time. You have a lot of downtime looking at your phone as you do with your family, which it's not the worst. I'm not telling you not to look at your phone and watch TikTok and whatever.
It just happens.
If it wasn't for TikTok, I might not know about the stuffing waffle idea. That's where I saw it.
It has its upside.
Yeah. But what's important to think is, like, if you made a list, if I asked most people to say, like, make a list of, like, the people or things that influence you the most, most would say, like, my family and my friends, your parents, whatever. But the truth is, the actual top of the list might be an algorithm for a lot of us.
Yeah.
The time we spend on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter accumulates. Like, that's a lot of time we're spending where it's just like, that's just an algorithm showing you what it wants you to see. As if the algorithm has like any like the algorithm isn't sentient, which honestly might make it worse.
Right.
Because it has no morals, no whatever. It's just showing you what it thinks you want to see, whether that's good or bad for you or whatever. If we're being honest, if we break it down, many of us are super, super influenced, our beliefs and thoughts, by what we see on Instagram, on algorithms. In fact, I was going to say one example I thought is like, okay, I'm a Christian, right? I believe in God, but I see way more content on my TikTok telling me that I shouldn't than I ever see of anything that,
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is this trying to tell me? Why is this happening? And I don't know. But I say all that to say this. You have to be careful to not let that be the number one thing that influences you. And so keep in mind, like, you just have to keep that, you have to have that thought in your head whenever you're on social media. And also, like, is it realistic to say spend more time with God than you do on social media?
Yeah.
We can ask that. I think for a lot of average people, unless you just really cut back on social media, that's going to be tough. It is going to be tough, but it's still important to take that time and let your family, let your friends, and let God influence you more than random people online and then an algorithm.
Yeah.
I think our lives would be a lot better if we did that. It doesn't mean you have to give up social media entirely, but it does mean that there are better ways to get information and to learn how to live life. God wants to help you learn how to live life and give you a better way to make it through. And if you want to know more, all you need to do is ask. Say, hey, Jesus, show me that. And go to RadioU.com/free gift. Got a new dating trend for you to be wary of this holiday season. Allie, have you ever been sledged around the holidays?
I don't think so.
You've never gotten sledged by a guy? Sledging. Anytime it's a dating trend like this, it's not actually a new thing that people are doing. It's just new that they've given it a name.
Yeah.
It's common enough that somebody's like, we should come up with a name for this. Sledging is when you're in a relationship around the holidays and one of the two of you knows that I'm just going to go through the holidays with this person, but then once we get past New Year's, I'm breaking it off. Meanwhile, possibly the other person having a happy-go-lucky good time, thinking that everything is fine, and not realizing that the relationship is about to come to a close, as if they are being dragged along on a sled through the holiday season.
Yeah, that's not great. Some of them apparently even plan to dump them within seconds of the ball drop on New Year's Day.
Sure they are.
So it's like,
You get the New Year's kiss and that's it.
Yeah, right. Or you don't even get the kiss. Instead, you're going in for the kiss. You're like, hey, so it's not you, it's me. You get that speech instead.
This has really been great.
This has been great.
The New Year, New Me starts right now. And it doesn't include you. I haven't been sledged, but I've been through the opposite, and I don't know what's worse. I had somebody break up with me right before Thanksgiving.
Oh.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that it was over. It should have been over sooner than it was. But I don't know if because you go into the holidays, you're planning all this stuff where you're going to be going to Thanksgiving with them, your Christmas, and if you've been together long enough. And so what's worse is having to explain to everybody at Thanksgiving, this is why we're not together. Or if this relationship is a dead end anyways, then then one of you's just not going to be into it. And people will be able to tell, and that's embarrassing too.
Right.
So I don't know what actually is worse.
What is better in this situation?
I guess the better thing is to just be broken up with so you can move on.
Yeah, that's true. I had a similar situation happen to me where literally a guy I was dating, we ended up breaking up the day of the Ohio State-Michigan game.
Ooh.
And so that was fun to have to tell friends and everyone at that point. I was in college, like, oh yeah, we're not dating anymore.
That is such a, and then you have to have that conversation over and over again.
Yeah.
No fun.
No.
But better than being in a relationship with somebody that doesn't want to be with you.
It's true.
And then if you want to bounce back quickly, you can find somebody else and bring them to Christmas. That'll show the person you used to be with. That'll show them. So just listen, don't be a sledger this Thanksgiving and Christmas. The Ohio State University is in crisis after a beloved statue of their iconic mascot, Brutus Buckeye, was knocked down over the weekend. It was vandalized, damaged, kicked down the street. The Brutus Buckeye statue that stands outside of College Traditions, a store on the Ohio State campus. Now, since then, it seems that while he's a little worse for wear, he's been put back up. He even has a sign that says, "I get knocked down, but I get back, but I get up again." Chumbawamba, love it. But I believe that we have surveillance video of who's done this. Probably a bitter Indiana fan, if I had to guess. I don't know if that's confirmed. I don't think we've caught the perp yet.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, "What Indiana fan decided to tear out this?" So what they did was the footage shows them taking the Brutus Buckeye, statue by the ankles, ripping it off of this, cement block that's outside of the College Tradition store, and just smashing it, kicking it against, the wall and kicking it down the street. They even threw it against the Woody Hayes statue that they also have outside. And so, and they damaged that statue a little bit too. So it's just overall what are you doing? You know? But yeah, it's all on camera. The statue is now up in the counter area in the store, and they have a little quote on it. So at least they had a good spirits about it after seeing someone do such a not great thing.
Yeah, we don't even know for sure. It could have just been some random drunk person. It was 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, but I'm just assuming it was an Indiana fan that stuck around and tried to drown their sorrows all night, and eventually took it out on Brutus Buckeye. But imagining in my mind that it is an Indiana fan, it makes me even more upset that they're probably going to get into the playoff. They don't belong there. They don't belong. I'm not a Ohio State fan, but Indiana doesn't belong. If they can get pushed around by Ohio State like that game was not close.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see, I don't know, any team from the SEC.
No.
I'd rather see Florida in there.
Oh, my goodness.
Florida can actually beat a good team. So can Vanderbilt. I'd rather see Vanderbilt than Indiana in the playoff.
I don't hate that, but
Let's do it. Let's
but
make
I
it
don't think I
happen.
agree with it. This is interesting for sure. But I don't know. Obviously, we have no evidence that it's an Indiana fan. But hopefully, they do find the perpetrator and justice can be had.
Another instance of me getting mad at somebody who may not exist. An imaginary guy that I've created to be mad at. I don't know if you've seen this trend going around on TikTok. It's apparently been a long time coming, but it recently hit a pretty high point, and it's what some call navel pulling. It is the idea of rubbing castor oil on your, is that how you say it? Castor
oil, yeah.
On your belly, particularly in your belly button, with the idea that it will help you get in better shape somehow. Honestly, on its surface, it doesn't make any sense to me. But there is a pretty popular health influencer named Miranda Wilson who showed a video doing this. It's gotten over 6 million views. So people are paying attention. But I don't know that, like, I don't know if I'm going to rush out and try castor oil on my belly button.
Yeah, I'm never into these fads when they start going viral on TikTok. I just feel like they are they just prey on people that, are kind of sometimes desperate to try anything. So I really always take these with a grain of salt, and I don't even have TikTok, so I don't really see a lot of these, honestly. But to me, it's just kind of interesting that, this trend is around. It's less about like making you fit. They're not promoting that it's some type of miracle drug or something. What they're, I think, promoting is that it helps flatten your stomach by getting rid of like bloating. So that, I guess, is a more realistic claim than, it's going to give you a 6-pack or something like that. But it's still kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
That was a good impression of people that say you'll get a 6-pack. Experts, if you count Miranda Wilson as an expert, she says do it. And she got 6 million views. But another expert, David Harder, a clinical herbalist, says that the belly button, just a reminder, it's a sealed orifice. The belly button doesn't go anywhere. So while castor oil has its benefits, he says it's not a whole lot different from rubbing it anywhere else on your body, whether it be the back of your knee or your forearm or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. It's, it might help your skin. I don't know what the benefits of that might be, but yeah, I just think it's funny that people, it's not funny because, like I said, it does prey on some people that I would consider more, desperate to try anything.
Yeah.
But I do think it's funny that people were like, oh, let me try this. This surely will work. Come on.
Yeah. Just give up is what.
No.
Just stop trying because none of these things work.
I'm not saying give up, but I'm just saying, like, just don't take these fads at face value because they're just, you're already, the nurse practitioner, Miranda Wilson, that's posting this, she's already someone that's, in good shape.
Right.
Why would you trust her to be the person to be like, this makes my stomach so flat? Like, girl, your stomach is already flat.
How does she get in shape in the first place? Probably actually doing the normal things that help you stay in shape.
Exactly.
Like exercising and eating right.
That's what they never tell you.
The kind of things that I would never do. I do like that. Like, we see these trends go viral all the time.
Yeah.
And every time, like, I don't think 6.4 million people have seen it. I don't think 6.4 million people are going to try it.
Right.
But enough people are going to try it where you have to think, like, the world's been around for thousands of years, like, where we've been trying to get in shape. I know that we went through some times where, like, being fat was, like, a sign of wealth. But, like, we've been trying everybody to get in shape for a long time now. And you think that now we're just going to, figure out
this new miracle.
And I say all that, but then it's like, oh, yeah, Ozempic did just kind of do that, didn't they? So there goes my idea. The holidays coming up. I have the perfect gift to get that C.S. Lewis fan in your life. And I know there's probably several right now waiting to hear what we've got to say. It is a stay at a Narnia-themed basically an Airbnb that is set up in a way to pay homage to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and even a little homage to Lord of the Rings as well, since C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were such good friends.
Yes.
Now, you'd have to go to, I believe, England, Oxford, England, to be able to experience this. It's actually set up right down the street from where C.S. Lewis had lived, but it is fully properly themed to accurately represent The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, to really satisfy a true fan.
The pictures of this Airbnb are so cool. They actually have a fireplace in the Airbnb that's like Mr. Tumnus's fireplace, from the books. And then also we've, seen the film and the Disney film that has the portrayal of it. So you can kind of picture it in your head. But it's such a cool thing. And I actually love the whole story behind it, because this Airbnb, rental, this home, it's a treehouse and cottage that were actually designed by a doctor as a place for children that have sickle cell anemia diseases to go and kind of get a little bit of respite. So I just thought that was so neat that they developed it for, kids that are a little bit less fortunate, to give them, a place where they can go and really be a kid and enjoy a moment away.
So wait, you're not telling me though that if I wanted to rent this, I'm preventing kids that are sick from being able to stay there?
No. So they have opened it up to be like a holiday rental. So it's not on Airbnb, it's like on their website.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you will not be preventing any children that have sickle cell disease from staying.
I wouldn't want to do that. But I'm impressed. It's got like two entire like structures to it, right? Because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at a video of this place where there's the one house that is like Mr. Tumnus's house, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a separate building structure that is like the beaver dam nest that you can go into as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And although it is meant for children, I think many adults would be happy here as well.
I agree.
I've seen the movies. I've read the books. I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan like some people are. But I think this is cool. Like, I would love to do this.
I mean, I would love to stay at a place. I obviously, read the books as well. And I love that one of the ways that you can turn on lights in the rental is you can actually put a ring on top of one of the copies of The Lord of the Rings, and it turns on the lights, which is the nod to J.R.R. Tolkien.
Somehow that is still much simpler than many light switches in most hotels nowadays. So I appreciate that. Thanksgiving is so close. You can almost taste it. I wish I could. I wish I could taste it. But for many, I know that Thanksgiving and other holidays where you get a lot of family and friends together, it can be fun, but it can also come with arguments, political conversations you'd rather not have, people sharing opinions that you'd rather not hear, and it can get heated. So all that said, I'm going to open up the Hudson hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
A rare yes or no question in the Hudson hotline. Would you sign a family code of conduct if that was presented to you as a requirement for participating in family Thanksgiving? Because this is something that has happened and gone viral on Reddit that is actually hilarious. It's more funny the more you read about it. But to me, the idea of the family code of conduct on its face, without any other of the details included, isn't the worst idea if it's been a problem for your family.
Right. It's not a terrible idea, but I do think it's odd that, this is a time of year where we're supposed to be thankful and also, enjoy that time where we get to spend with family that sometimes we don't get to see any other time during the year often, to be like, well, to be able to enjoy my presence, you have to sign this form. Like, that seems a little conceited to me.
I'm here to eat. I'm not here to hear any about the election. Or
right.
So the details are, this is what's crazy to me, first of all, is that the person that was asking, that had drafted a code of conduct and was handing it out for people to sign was not the host.
Yeah.
I thought, if you can imagine going to grandma's house and maybe grandma's just frustrated with everybody every year, some of the, the cousins wind up arguing. So fine, this is it. I'm putting a code of conduct together. And it sounds like something from a movie, but I can imagine that being okay. As the guest at Thanksgiving, this is a sister that came in, I believe, and she was like, I've got a code of conduct that she asked the host to sign. That that is where it first of all goes off the rails to me.
Yeah, it's insane that someone would have the hubris to do this, to be like, I'm bringing this into the house of the person that is hosting. And now it's like the younger sister in this situation. So the older sister who is hosting and who has hosted for like the last 5 years shared this on Reddit, saying her younger sister decided she wanted to help by bringing some order to the gathering. And at first she thought she meant she was like going to coordinate.
Yeah.
Who would bring what dishes or help with cleanup. No. Instead, she showed up to her house with printed copies of what she called a family code of conduct. And what is included in this family code of conduct is kind of crazy.
It is. So some of the quotes from it. I hate this. Man, I hate this. First of all, a rule against overlapping conversations. Not even political.
Just
not even the topic. You just can't have multiple people talking. It's probably a big table.
Yeah.
Let people have different conversations. Everybody doesn't want to talk about the football game.
Right.
Some want to talk about what you've been doing over the last few months. Like, just let people talk.
That's the beauty of having the family together. It's like, oh, you know, I'm good to not talk about this topic because it's not really my interest. So I'm going to go join this group over here that's talking about something else I am interested in. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. She wanted to be a respectful debate club is the quote. There was a ban on political or controversial topics. Also, she had assigned seating for everyone based off of optimal personality compatibility.
How do you even determine that? Like, she's the one determining this.
She probably had like, okay, these are the Republicans, these are the Democrats, these are the people that don't care and they watch football, these are the kids, these are the other, like the ones that don't even fit into any of the boxes. And like, I'm imagining she drafted, that's just an example. She also had a dress code. How do you even enforce this?
Yeah.
How do you enforce this? What are you going to kick people out for family Thanksgiving?
You didn't follow the family code of conduct.
Yeah,
Get
no
out
overlapping
of here.
conversation.
No turkey for you.
We would fail. We would fail at this family Thanksgiving. But honestly, you read all this and you're like, maybe the sister that drafted this is the one that was causing all the problems in the first place.
It sounds like if she's this much of a control freak, I think you might be onto something there.
She's the one that should be kicked out. I'm sorry to say. Wesley said, I wouldn't sign a code of conduct for Thanksgiving dinner. That just sounds ridiculous. Kind of sounds rigid in structure and sounds like grade school stuff.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
I think the rules are more open in like elementary schools than they are to what this
lady
what this gal came up with. Yeah.
Christy texted in and she said, family code of conduct. So in 2020, her sister-in-law made their entire family take COVID tests before gathering for Thanksgiving.
Hey,
yikes.
You know what? In 2020, I think a lot can just be, you could just
erase it,
strike it from the record.
Yeah. And
I had a family member that always did, like during COVID times, want us to take tests before everything, which, like again, at the time, whatever. And then like eventually that kind of died down. Mm-hmm. And then 2021, we go for Christmas. And guess who all had COVID?
Oh, no.
And ruined family Christmas.
Yeah.
Because we actually got like actual sick.
Oh, that's the worst.
Lindsay said, I had a friend who did this. She sent out a huge message to her family and asked them to either reply with C to confirm or D to decline. She didn't want anybody to touch her baby, had all these rules. It sounds like it could have been related
Not
to COVID.
breathing near the baby. Sorry, I'm just reading this for the first time.
She said it was 90% extreme and 10% reasonable. You know what this is making me realize is that you cannot, if you want to have a family code of conduct or whatever, like I guess that's one thing. It can't be made by one individual.
Yeah.
It has to be like the Declaration of Independence. It has to be a group of many individuals all expressing their interests and being like, what should we put in this thing? But then if you can't make that without y'all arguing, then I think you just shouldn't have Thanksgiving together.
Yeah, like the great compromise. What's that one going to be for the family code of conduct? I also love this second text from Lindsay where she says, it was obviously her first kid. I'm on my third, and I'm walking into the Thanksgiving gathering like, hi, I'm here. Take my baby.
Yeah, the attitude.
A little different.
It definitely changes. If we had to draft a code, not a code of conduct you have to sign, but if we were to give guidelines for just blanket across the board family Thanksgiving, what would the guidelines be?
The guidelines would be have fun, enjoy this moment,
Yeah.
and don't let your phone or something else distract you. Be in the moment, because what I have learned, because one of the things that I miss so much with family gatherings is my grandpa. He passed away a couple years ago. And so I'm always reminded anytime I see my grandma come into a family gathering, I don't want to take for granted those moments of being able to spend with her, because I do miss my grandpa so much. And so I feel like the number one rule for every family is don't take these moments for granted, because they don't last.
Yeah. That not much else needs to be said. I will add something. And that is be sensitive to other people. If they want to get all up in arms about whatever their topic is it more important to you to defend your side or to just let it be?
Right.
I'm great at I don't never disagree with people, but if somebody says something that I don't agree with, if I started debating them every time, I wouldn't be able to enjoy anything ever.
Right.
So just let it roll off your back and make the turkey and the potatoes more enjoyable than whatever the conversation has to be. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.